Hello everyone and welcome to the Shader Lab. The Shader Lab is a collection of 25 plus awesome shaders. I've created these shaders over the span of 3 or 4 years to use in my own projects, and what I've done is I've revamped them, improved them, and optimized them for Unity 6 Plus, and added a ton of new features and tools to help you get the most out of these shaders as possible. So here you can see the shaders. You can flip through these. You can download the demo and mess around and check them out yourself on the asset store's description. But I'm going to stop this. I'm going to show you the tools to get the most out of these. So if you go to Tools, the Shader Lab, and you go to the User Guide, just like all of my other lab assets, I have this awesome user guide which covers absolutely every single aspect of the product, as well as information relating to all of the components and what they do and all that kinds of good stuff. So be sure to read through this, or if you're using a particular shader, just select it here and read through it. Next up, if we go back here and we check out the URP setup checker, what this does is it makes sure that your URP pipeline is set up to take the most advantage of the shaders possible. If your system is not, or if your URP stuff is not set up correctly, you will get some warnings here and options to fix them right here in the URP setup checker. Then we have the CS Palm Map Baker. What this allows you to do is it allows you to take a texture, an albedo, and bake other maps such as normals and so on and so forth to use in the CS Palm shader. But if you can author them by hand or whatever, you're going to get better results. But this will give you awesome results if you just mess around with the settings. So just to show you real quick, I'm going to choose the rock one here. And then I'm going to go to step 2. First of all, I'm going to choose the height source from the albedo, but you can choose different channels here if you so choose. But I'm going to choose this one from the albedo luminance. And then step 2, this is where you can tweak all of this stuff. Step 3 here allows you to make it seamless. If you want a seamless tiling texture, this is where you can set that. If your texture is already seamless, you can leave the export seamless as false. And then bake, set, and output. This will allow you to choose where you want to bake them to. So for example, here it's going to be pulled from this sample texture folder, which is where we grab the texture from. You get to choose the name of the material, but it pulls it from the name of the texture. So in this case, rock 01, and it's going to bake it and save it to this directory here. And then you have a preview and bake. So we're going to open up the preview window here, and you can see right away that it is extracting data from it. And what you can do is if you scroll down here, you can see the height, normal, AO, and your tiling. As you can see, there are seams here, so this is not a tileable texture, so just keep that in mind. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the contrast, and you can see it change in the preview here. So the less brightness, obviously, the less result you're going to get. So if you amp this all the way up, and then you mess around with the contrast and then the brightness, you can start to see that it's extracting the data from the image. So just mess around with these, and then what you do is you click Bake Set, and it will create the textures and a material that you can literally drag and drop directly onto the object you want to use this on. Very powerful tool, very awesome. All right, the next tool I want to show you is the Toon Outline Normals Baker. And what this does is it allows you to set up and bake the correct import settings as well as the correct UV2s and UV3s to give you the best outline and visual look of your model that you possibly can get with the Toon shader. So to do this, all you need to do is select the model that you want to bake this to and drag and drop the mesh into that. So for example, here's Toshi, so I'm going to drag and drop his mesh in there. And you'll notice it'll say 3,298 vertices, submesh 1, blah, 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 right? And then here you can apply outline-friendly import settings such as the read and write needs to be on, normals need to be calculated, that kind of thing. So if you just set that, it will automatically set up the import and apply them directly to the model. then here is where you can overwrite UV2 and UV3 and snap blah, 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 blah. Just go through this and read this. And then what you need to do is just go to bake outlined normals. So if you bake this, it'll tell you right here that you need to assign the new bake mesh to your mesh filter. So we're going to click OK, and you can see now that we've created a mesh version of Toshi, we're going to go back to Toshi, and we're going to drag and drop the new outline normals. I've already prepped this model before, but I'm just going to do it again just so you get an exact idea what needs to be done. So if your model is not set up correctly, you don't have very clean UVs, that kind of thing, an outline shader can give you very weird results, such as jagged or broken lines on the outline. But if your UV is done correctly, like Toshi was originally, then it's not a problem. However, if it's not, you can use the tool and bake the, why did I do that? You can bake the fixed normals and all that kind of stuff directly into a new mesh and use that as the rendered mesh instead of the one that came with the model, just to make it so it looks as good as humanly possible. But that's that tool. It's pretty straightforward. Like I said, if you have any questions, you can just mouse over any of the options and it'll have a detailed tooltip to tell you what it is, or you can just check out the user guide. But the steps, it tells you and breaks everything down for you in very simple steps on the wizard, as you saw. Okay, the next tool I want to show you is for painting pin and flap values to a model such as this, which is a tarpaulin, which has billowing. So when the breeze gets underneath the sheet, it'll billow between your paint and your pins. I'm going to show you how to use that. So what you need to do is you just come up here to tools again, and we're going to go here to tarp pin paint. And what this does is it allows you to select the tarp here. So I'm going to go down to tarp. And here you can see the material. If it has, for some reason, this is the live material, but here it has no values. But if you preview the flap, you can see that it is indeed working, but you'll notice that everything is out of alignment. So we're going to fix that. So we're going to do calm paint. So here's where you can just paint directly here, or if you want, you can preview the flap and paint directly on here. So we're going to do the pin paint, so we don't want it to flap. So if we start painting by left clicking here, you'll see that it starts to pin and will no longer go through that area. And if you want, you can actually go back here and check where I've painted, and you can see the fall off. You can adjust this if you want. And then again, I'm going to go back to this preview and I'm going to just paint so it doesn't go through that anymore. And you can see here that it's going through all the tops of these straps. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to adjust the fall off and the brush size. So we'll just go down a bit here and make the brush a little smaller, and then we'll just paint. And you can see it in real time starting to snap into place here. So we can just go down and just start painting the pin values. And we're going to do it along here as well. So we're going to just paint here. And as you do this, you'll notice that it is updating in real time. So we don't want it to flap through here either. Down there is fine because it's on a loose strap. And then we're going to do the same here. And just basically go through until you're happy with how it looks. Right here, you can see now the strap is preventing it from blowing through it. And we're just going to finish painting these guys here. And at any time, you can come back and go to the calm paint so you can actually see if you want to see hot zones. But I like painting in preview because you can actually see it in motion. So you can see where you need to paint the pin for that already. And we got the same issue here, so we're going to just paint it down here and also down here. And I notice another glitch here is it's just popping through here, so we're going to paint it down here. And I'll paint down this strap as well, just so it stays where it needs to. And now if you notice, we have a nice cool effect. So if I hold down Control and left click, you can see. Now I notice some intersection here on the top, but you can adjust the amount that it billows to prevent that. The other option is to paint the flap amount. So if you want the flap on the tarp to flap more, you can just paint that directly on there, and that section will start to flap more in the wind. Right now, everything is kind of set to pin. So if I go back to the pin mask or flap amount and go to 25%, let's make the brush size a little bigger and brush in a couple of these problematic areas. So I see there's a section here. I think it's here. So yeah, right here. So if I paint just a little bit there, as well as along the top on here, it's more, you'll see it animate a little bit, but not too much. And you can just go around and just start painting where you need to get a cool tarp blowing in the wind effect. Now this can be used on different things such as flags and other fabrics in your level. But I just call it the tarp pin paint because I used it for a bunch of tarps in one of my games. So there you go. So that's how that works. And then what you do is you come down here and you can bake the PNGs, and it will bake them to this tarp pin set, which is already here. So I'm not going to, well, I guess, oops, see there's a little bit there. So if we paint that there, just to make sure. And then again, you can check the comp paint and see where your fall off values are and that kind of thing. And then of course your live preview. And then once you're happy with that, just go to Bake PNGs and it will overwrite any that's in that folder and automatically assign it to the material. So if you go over to the tarp and then you just open up the material, you'll see where it's assigned those additional things there. And if you happen to have my other lab asset, the fur lab, you can use the fur noise tool there and create a noise alpha or noise grayscale image, and you can use it here if you want to add additional surface noise and wrinkles, that kind of thing. So you have the power at your fingertips to create some really cool effects with that. Now, I think that's all I need to cover in this video. And yeah, you can create a WindZone. Oh, sorry, wrong one. No, that's the correct one. You can create a WindZone and bridge in the scene, which will allow you to have the fur react to your wind zone and turbulence and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's it. That's everything that you need to know in the Shader Lab. Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you later.